Going live. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Sandy. Wait, you got to get the whole effect. This is the mug Indy was talking about the other day. My flower pot with this spoon spade. Good morning. Good morning, Indy.
Good morning.
Wait. If you guys want to really wake up, check this out. Check this out. Come on, show him the shirt. Show him the
There
shirt.
you go. I'm ready to go back ready.
That's right. He's ready. He's going. Me, I'm going to physical therapy in hopes of someday being ready to go again. Yeah, any day. Any day now. Oh, wait a minute. We got all this stuff here. What else? What else? What else? Oh, good morning. So I said yesterday was a day to, kind of look at your life and reflect on your life, right? Well, I got a spoonful of sugar and a mouthful of advice yesterday from many different sources who shall go nameless. But one of them was take a look at what you're doing and see if it's really what you want to be doing. I mean, do you want it to be fun, just a hobby? Or do you want to have it be a business? Or do you want to not do it at all? And I thought, wow, this is a lot to think about. Oh, look, my closet's open. I didn't even realize that. You can see right inside my closet. Obviously, I keep everything in boxes and in drawers, and because I've got to get to all these little things. But you see that white thing that's hanging right there? Yeah, that thing? That was Fritzy's nurse's uniform. I have the hat and everything. She was a nurse when she was young. Yes, she was.
Weren't we all?
Nurse Fritzy. Oh, so was Indy. Indy was a nurse before he was a psychologist. Me, I was never a nurse, not even in pretend. Even when we played pretend, I was never the nurse or the doctor. In fact, in high school, we had to take these
Cooter preference test.
aptitude tests. Right. What do you call it?
The Cooter preference test.
The preference test, right?
The Cooter.
Cooter. It was a cooter. I scored negative in medical field. I did. I got a negative score in the medical field. But teaching was okay. But not the because I would look at blood and my first thought would be, ew, doesn't that belong on the inside? That would be my first thought.
Well, that's the job of a nurse. Put it back in.
Yeah, no. However, I am the person you want around in an emergency because in an emergency, I don't know who I become, but I am not me. I stay incredibly calm until the problem is solved, and then I move on. I think I know why. We're going to talk more about problem solving later. So today is information overload day. That's a big one. In fact, I think at one point it was considered to be the largest societal problem that we had.
That was when Gutenberg invented the printing press.
That son of a gun started it all, didn't he?
All that writing for people to read. And
yeah. So what is information overload? And seriously, this is a real problem. And you may not even realize that you are suffering from this. Information overload.
Don't tell me about this. I can't handle more.
Yeah, I'm going to give you more information right now. Here's the thing. You're sitting at your computer and what happens? You get interrupted, right? You get interrupted with information from news sources, information from the maker of your computer. You get ads, you get messages, you get emails, you get phone calls, you get interruptions all day long. Whether you're at work typing away or you're just doing whatever it is that you do all day long, there are constant pieces of information. What's the time? What's the weather? What's happening next? What's tomorrow?
Oh, did you realize there was a big full moon today?
I'm talking about information, and that's a piece of information that you're interrupting me with. Here's what they've found out. Oh, and yes, by the way, because Tracy talks about that.
Oh, I did interrupt you. There you go.
Oh, he did that just to show you that that's just another kind of information overload interruption. And we have this day because it's to call attention to the fact that, yes, we have interruptions all day long. And what they found out is that it takes longer for you to recover from the interruption than this time that it took for the interruption itself. You lose your train of thought. If you're my age, you lose everything, right? It's like, don't interrupt me because I won't remember what I was talking about. Or let me go first because this is not going to last for long. I have a girlfriend and we crack up because, we were both brought up to interrupt. If we interrupt each other, we have to start a whole new conversation because neither one of us can remember what we were talking about. It's very frustrating. All right, interruption overload. So what do you do about it? Because it's really hard to start sifting. It's hard to start sifting through all that information and pick out the pieces that are actually important as opposed to the minutia of just stuff. I tell you going in, I'm going to give you trivia. Trivia meaning it's not really important. It's just kind of interesting. I request that when you're here, you're actually just here to let your brain wake up, have a little morning coffee, a little sip and a smile, enjoy your time here, learn a few things, laugh a little bit. Don't let it be an interruption to what's moving your day. Use this as the time to deal with all those other thoughts. Share them. That's what we have comments here. You got a thought? Put it out there while you've got it. But just remember that the recovery time from interruptions is actually longer than the interruption itself. So if you are working, and some of you do still go to work, keep that in mind when you're talking to your coworkers. If you interrupt them, you are going to totally disrupt whatever they're working on for a period of time. Is it important what you want to interrupt with? And by the way, if you just take regular breaks, you can alleviate a lot of that problem. Stepping outside into nature is like every once in a while, just open the door and walk outside. Hot, cold, raining, I don't care. Just get into nature a little bit and clean out that brain. Okay, so many birthdays today. Dr. Joyce Brothers, who we talked about yesterday, not my favorite person, but I didn't know that she got her start by being the first woman to win the $64,000 question. So she was annoying, but she was smart and annoying. Bella Lugosi. But I'm having an outdoor interruption. Indy is now knocking on my window and waving to me. I said go outside in nature every once in a while. I wondered why he picked up and left. That's why. He went outside to nature and he waved to me from the window. What an interruption. See, there we go. I lost my whole train of thought again. Oh, I was talking about Dracula. We're getting close to Halloween, so I got a lot of this stuff coming up. Bela Lugosi, the person who played Dracula, Count Dracula, the inspiration for Count Countula on Sesame Street. Okay, trivia about him. Bela Lugosi was actually buried in his Dracula costume. True story. Isn't that weird?
That was a good idea, leaving and getting into nature. Hey, you want to see the moon this morning?
Oh, the moon is awesome. Tracy did a whole thing about the moon. Don't miss it on What Do I Say, What Do I Do? Oh, look at that. That's what it looks like outside.
The moon's a little blurry today.
Oh, man, that is awesome.
You gotta see it. It's really
Moonshine.
good. Yeah.
We got some moonshine. It's also Mickey Mantle's birthday. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Mickey Mantle? It's an excuse to play one of the only songs we can play.
Yeah, I'll do that.
We're gonna find that for you because we don't play music here that we don't own the copyrights to. But some songs are in the public domain and we can play them. And since it's Mickey Mantle's birthday, we could play Happy Birthday to You. I could also sing the birthday song my kids wrote. That's even better. But I'm not going to. Also, Art Buchwald's birthday. Art Buchwald was a columnist. Okay. Take. Did you know there were verses to this song?
Several verses, yeah.
No wonder it's in the public domain. Not exactly one you want to get up and dance to, is it? Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root, root, root for the home team. Okay, see, I got interrupted and carried away, and I forgot where I was. Okay, not totally.
Well, baseball, it's World Series time, isn't it?
Is it World Series? If the playoffs are done?
Yeah.
Who's in the World Series?
Let's see.
The
Remember,
Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, my team, the Dodgers, the LA Dodgers, and who are they playing?
Wasn't it Atlanta maybe? And then they're going to play maybe the Red Sox or somebody for the World Series. I think.
You think it's the Red Sox and the LA Dodgers?
Yeah,
If it's the Red Sox and the Dodgers, we're going to have quite a time in my daughter's house. Yeah, my son-in-law and my son and my daughter, they're Red Sox and Dodgers fans. What do you do? He's checking. Anyway, Art Buchwald. Let's get back to Art Buchwald. Short, chubby guy, kind of balding, baldish. I don't even know if he's still alive. No, he died. That's too bad. Art Buchwald. He was a humorist. He had a column in the Chicago. I don't know if it was the Sun-Times or the Trib. Good column. He won a Pulitzer Prize for his writing. He was awesome. My grandmother, my grandma Millie, she loved him. Never, ever, ever missed Art Buchwald's column. It was always good. It was always funny. And there I was one day at the Music Center in LA. I don't even remember what I was seeing, but I was standing outside. They have a big, beautiful open area between, like it's like the center of all the different theaters. So you hang out there at intermission and before each show. And anyway, and I look across at the bench right by me, and who's sitting on the bench but Art Buchwald in my hood in LA? So, being the shy retiring type I am, I went over and sat down next to him. And I said, I don't know if you noticed this. You might want to check your driver's license, but you are Art Buchwald. And of course, he started laughing, and I told him how much my grandma loved him. And it was before iPhones, so I couldn't take a picture of him with me. But I did have him sign an autograph for her. And that was really cool.
So the teams in the playoffs are the Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta Braves.
And Houston and Boston.
Oh, so it's the playoffs still.
No, we're still going for the,
Okay, so it's between the Dodgers and Atlanta and Houston and Boston. So it could end up being LA and Boston in the World Series, which would be very exciting. Well, at least for us. It's Jerry Orback's birthday. I used to get him confused with, who was that guy? Not Joe Pine, but he was like Joe Pine. He was a really kind of a nasty, argumentative, troublemaking host of a talk show. And he looked kind of like Jerry Orbach, but it wasn't Jerry Orbach. You don't know who I mean. I don't either. Jerry Orbach, you would probably remember, though, because he was the father in Dirty Dancing. Yeah. I think the other guy's name was Jerry something else. Anyway, he was the father in Dirty Dancing, and he was also in Law and Order, which was like a hugely popular show. Jerry Orbach, happy birthday. He was born in 1935.
You know when he died?
No, when did he die?
December 28, 2004.
Oh, he died. Okay, well, then we won't have,
At age 69 in Manhattan.
Wow, he was young.
Thank you.
He was young.
That's what I am.
I can remember being a kid, and I used to love to read the obituaries. Don't ask me why. I just thought it was interesting to read about people's lives and what they'd done, right? But I can remember thinking that if they died and they were over 50, I didn't really feel that bad for them because I felt like they had a full life. After 50? Are you kidding me? I am so not ready. Now they have to be like 112, and my thought is, it's okay. It was time.
Well, that's who he was. He was Detective Orback on Law and Order.
Detective
Oh,
Orback.
no, I'm sorry.
No,
Detective,
Jerry Orbach was his name.
He was Detective Lenny Briscoe.
Lenny Briscoe. He
on
was
Law and
Lenny
Order.
Briscoe on Law and Order.
There he is.
In case you could, I think it's okay for us to show pictures of people. We just can't sing about them or something. I'm not really sure.
Lenny, he's my man. Every time I hit, he can.
Okay, what else?
Oh,
You know who else's birthday it is? And I'm so sorry he's no longer with us. And I don't know if there was any story about it, because he died young too. Tom Petty. Tom Petty was born in 53. He was really young. I won't back down. That wasn't a song. I was just saying, I won't back down. Yeah. Go Google Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. But you know what? After he was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or maybe even simultaneously, he was one of the founding members of my all-time in the world favorite group, the Traveling Wilburys. Yep, he was one of them.
What did you say before?
What did I say before about what?
No, you said he was Wilbur. He was, anyway, go ahead.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers?
Yeah. Huh?
I said, I think he still had the Heartbreakers while he was in the Wilburys, didn't he?
Wilburys is just a project they did.
Yeah, they were. It was, it was like a super group. By the way, in Gainesville, where he was born, they did name a park after him. So there's a Petty Park.
Is it pretty?
It's a pretty Petty Park.
Oh. Is it petite?
A petite, pretty Petty Park.
I'll stop.
He'll stop. I don't know if I'll stop. A petite, pretty Petty Park. Easy for you to say. Say that 10 times before you've had your coffee. What else? Oh, Snoop Dogg's birthday. Snoop Dogg, the rapper, he's like sold like 20 over 35 million records. Well, music things. What do you call them? Songs?
Hard to say these days. Just
what do you call it? He's sold over 35 million of them, whatever they are. But did you know that he was like a really bad guy? Yeah, he was like a member of the Rolling Crips in Long Beach, California. And he was arrested for being the driver in a drive-by shooting. I didn't know Snoop Dogg was really like bad. I mean, my nephew, Mike, if you're watching, you named your dog after him. I wonder how many dogs are named Snoop for that reason. Not because of Snoopy, but because Snoop Dogg. Hey, Snoop Dogg. Wait a minute. Art Buchwald wrote for the New York Times and he went to USC. I don't like that. Are you sure he didn't write for one of the Chicago papers at some time? Because I know my grandma read him every morning, and I didn't think she was erudite enough to get the New York Times in Chicago. I don't know. Could you check that?
What?
See if Art Buchwald ever wrote for a paper in Chicago. Come on, check that for me, folks, because that will change my whole idea about good old Art. Oh, get this. Wait a minute. 1898 to 1975. He was born and died on the same day. Hugo Zucchini.
You didn't get very old then.
Well, no, not on the same day, same date. Hugo Zucchini. What about him? He was called the Human Cannonball, and he was in the Barnum and Bailey, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. He was the guy they shot out of the cannon. Yeah, he would go 75 feet in the air and 200 feet across. That was his job. Yeah. And he died on the same day he was born. My ex-mother-in-law did that. She died on her 100th birthday. She made it to 100 and died at 4:00 in the morning. Isn't that bizarre? Coincidence, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe you have this drive to live until you were born again. I don't know. Anyway, Hugo Zucchini, the Human Cannonball. I know you were dying to hear about that this morning, huh? It's International Sloth Day. Indy, remember when we saw sloths in Costa Rica?
You spotted them really well. They were hard to spot.
They were very hard to spot. Sloth spotting. They don't move very fast. It's true. It's true what they say about sloths. They don't move very fast.
They trim the trees, don't they?
They live in the trees and they lay in the trees, and you have to like really look to spot them. But here's the weird thing. People assume that they're related to monkeys, but they aren't. You know who their closest relatives are? Do you know, Indy?
Relative of the sloth?
Yeah. Not
Oh.
monkeys.
Oh boy, what would that be? What order are they in? No, but help me out.
Anteaters
Anteaters, that would
and
make sense.
armadillos.
Yeah. What is that? What's that order?
It's the order of Amanenvidian.
That one. Yeah.
That one, yeah.
That's
And that's who they're related to.
That's Latin.
It's also International Chef's Day. So Indy was quite the chef last night. He was at the market and he found these Mexican onions. Mexican onions?
Green onions. Yeah.
They're green onions, but the bottom of them looks like a cross between a giant scallion, you know, and a white onion. So he chopped it all up and he mixed it with strings of
Squash.
What kind of squash though?
Butternut squash.
Butternut squash. Oh, I love butternut squash. So it was like these ribbons of butternut squash, all spiced up with this delicious Mexican onion mixed in with it.
And Italian spices.
And Italian spices. So it was a very international vegetable that we had last night, along with our chicken. It was good. And rice. And the dogs loved the leftovers. They weren't actually leftovers. Before we ate, I took a piece of chicken and prepared it for the dogs. I know. They eat whatever we eat, plus their dog food. But they're not fat. You know what else it is? It's Hagfish Day. Do you know what a hagfish is? Do you know what a hagfish is?
No, what's a hagfish?
Ew! I don't know why we have a day to celebrate them. I saw pictures and I was so grossed out. And remember, I told you this is October pre-Halloween, so I'm going to gross you out as much as is humanly possible. Look up hagfish, but not right before or right after you eat, okay? Because it was...
Oh.
They look like a cross between a snake and an eel. They're like slimy, squirmy things. But they have no jawbones. They have no backbone. Or maybe they have a backbone. They have no jawbone, no scales. What does it say here? Their fossils date back 3 million years. They're like dinosaur fish.
Been around a long time.
Yeah. Okay, so my thought, they eat dead things and dying things.
Handy dandy to have around. No wonder they're
and sometimes, this is the gross part. Are you ready? This is warning. You might not want to listen to this part. Sometimes they eat those things from the inside out and leave only the skin.
You know, there's another species that does that.
What?
Humans. We eat dead things and often from the inside out and leave. Think of chicken. We eat dead chickens from the inside out and leave the skin. Hey, Art Buchwald, going back to being funny.
Yeah.
At 17, he ran away to join the Marines and spent 3.5 years in the Pacific during World War II, got to be a sergeant, and spent much of his time editing a Corps newspaper. After the war, he enrolled at the University of Southern California, where he became managing editor of the campus humor magazine and columnist for the student paper, but dropped out in 1948 and headed to Paris on a one-way ticket. There's nothing about him in Chicago in his extended biography here.
Okay, well, that would explain why I saw him in LA, but it doesn't explain why my grandmother, maybe he, Sandy. I'm sure he must have been syndicated. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner, for crying out loud.
You know how he started out? He had a difficult childhood. Born in 1925, he and his 3 sisters were sent to foster homes when their mother was institutionalized for mental illness. Their father, a drapery salesman, suffered Depression-era financial troubles and couldn't afford them.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine being given up because your mother went crazy and your father couldn't afford to keep you? How sad is that?
So he turned to humor, and he liked to poke fun at the establishment. And one of his famous quotes was, If you spend enough time making fun of the establishment, they'll make you a member of it.
I'm sure I got the Chicago thing because he must have been his he was famous, so she must have read it in a Chicago paper. Because I promise you, she did not get the New York Times. She didn't.
I'm reading this from a Chicago Tribune tribute to him.
Okay, so if the Chicago Tribune did a tribute to him, they must have carried his column. That's all.
Well, the paper probably carried it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's probably why my grandma read it all the time.
He was syndicated, sure.
I thought he was like located in Chicago, but apparently not. Thank you, Stephen, for making me learn so much more about a guy that I liked him. He was a good guy, and he was nice to me too when I sat down. He was not like, "Oh, I'm a big deal, so don't bother me." He was like, "Where are you from? Let's talk." "Oh, your grandma, huh? You want me to write something to your?" He was really nice.
He was known as the Wit of Washington.
The Witch of Washington. He was this chubby little sweet guy. He's a nice guy. All right, Hagfish, by the way. This is important.
Want some for dinner?
No.
Oh.
No, gross, gross, gross. But even though they were squirmy, slimy, snake-like fish who ate dead things and almost dead things and sometimes from the inside out, think about this. Even things like that have a purpose. Because can you imagine if there was nothing around to eat all of the things that died under the ocean? We probably wouldn't have oceans. It would be like stacked up with dead stuff. So they do a job that's really important for us, apparently. Yeah, everything has its place, I guess. And I'm glad its place is far, far underwater.
Yeah.
And one more reason that you'll never get me to dive. I get that it's beautiful. Thank you, those of you who do it, for taking the pictures. You will not get me to do it. That's also, by the way, one of the reasons that my swimming pool, which is not there yet, but hopefully they'll break ground. I can't wait to show you when they break ground. Anyway, it's only going to be 4 feet deep because I don't want to go under the water. No, I want to be above the water. Okay, what else? Oh, this was amazing. In I can't read that. 1906. 1906, a pilot, I think it was a Russian pilot, but I'm not sure. Might have been here. Crashed a plane filled with passengers on a bet. He bet his co-pilot that he could land with instruments only. So they covered up the windows or something, tried to land with just instruments. It didn't work. The plane crashed. He killed his co-pilot and like almost everybody else on board on a bet.
So he lost the bet, but nobody collected.
Yeah, he lost the bet, but he didn't lose his life, but other people did. So I'm looking at, like all this stuff that happened on this day. I go to like 6 different sites and find little things to share with you. There was so much bad news that happened today in different years. It was ridiculous. However, it was also in 1922, the first time a pilot, speaking of air disasters, his plane was shot down. But in 1922, he was the first pilot to be saved by a parachute. I don't know. I think about parachutes being around forever, but apparently 1922, which would have made it World War I, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was wearing a parachute, and thank God it saved his life. Well, thank parachute, I guess.
Also in 1909, in a little lighter way, the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Detroit Tigers 4-3 for the World Series.
The World Series ended on this day?
No, it didn't end on just 1909.
There's some trivia that you needed for your day.
The Pirates win the series.
Woohoo!
Over the Tigers.
Arg! Arg! The Pirates win.
Have a good time. I'm out of here.
Oh, you're going riding? Okay, I'm almost done. I just want to talk about Peter Pan because Peter Pan it premiered on this day with Mary Martin.
What is the Peter Pan syndrome?
So, I won't grow up. I won't grow up. That's for me.
What's the technical term for that?
Kidophobia.
Puer eternus.
Isn't it good to have a psychologist in the neighborhood? Yes, the
Look
Peter
it up.
Pan
Look it up.
syndrome is called
Puer.
puer
And
eternus.
the Eternus starts with
Always a child.
Eternus starts with an A.
You're always a pupa. Isn't that what
That's
happens
it.
when chrysalis is first year?
Very good. That's the same root. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or-
See, I know my
Okay.
science.
Hey, have a
You
sip of
thought I
the
was
Cornell.
just
See
a
you later.
pretty face. I got a great brain here too. Thank you, Stephen. It was World War One. Yeah. And thank goodness for the parachute for him. Peter Pan. Oh, we could have played Take Me Out to the Ball Game again because in 1910, that's when they started using a baseball that was like cork in the middle. I don't know what they used before. Maybe rocks? That would hurt. Did you ever get hit with one of those balls? Dang me, they hurt. They bruise. Yeah, they do. Okay, in 1980 on this day, I wish I could play songs for you, but I don't have the rights, so I can't play them anymore. But Roy Orbison, only the lonely, bum 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 ba. He was. Oh, that's what I wanted to share that with you. Roy Orbison wrote Only the Lonely. Great song, right? Right? Am I right? It's a great song. It was turned down by Elvis and it was turned down by the Everly Brothers. But Roy Orbison, who wrote it, loved it so much he decided, all right, fine, then I'll record it myself. And he ended up getting a #1 with it. So, na 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 to Elvis and the Everly Brothers. Yeah. 1962. It was a very good year. Bobby Boris Pickett. We're back into Halloween time, right? Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Kickers. You remember them? They had a #1 hit with We Do the Mash. We do the Monster Mash. We do the mash. It was a graveyard smash. That is such a cool song. Yeah, I don't think it was, maybe it was a one-hit wonder. I don't know. Maybe they did other Halloween songs. Oh, and then I saw the Eagles last week, and on this date in 1979, they had a #1 hit with the long, 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 long run. I'm not singing it for you because I'll screw it up, and it's too great of a song for me to goof it up. Instead, we will move directly to the word art today, which I think is inspiring and important. And we did talk a little bit about it earlier. I did make some comments on what do I say, what do I do to kind of add to it. You might want to check that out. When something happens, when something goes wrong, when there's a problem, when there's an issue, the temptation for humans is to immediately determine A, what it means, and B, assign blame. Who's guilty? Who did that? It's like, yeah, you could spend all day trying to figure out who's guilty. But my advice is first, problem solve. You can always come back and assign guilt, shame, blame if that's what you need to do. But to begin with, first, solve the problem. My father and mother started teaching us problem solving. Primarily my father. Fritzy was like, she would serve the dinner while Lenny gave the lessons. It was more like that. We were in a very 1950s household growing up. He would teach us how to problem solve. We got word problems in math when we were little in elementary school, and most people hated them. But that's the most practical thing we could have done in school. We should have spent more time on that, not just in math, in every subject. Okay, something goes wrong. What do? You have to make a decision about something. How do you go about that? There's steps. We can talk more about that. If you have any questions or you have any comments, share them. Our Facebook page is called What Do I Say? What Do I Do? This is where you pose those issues. That's how the whole Facebook group started. It's like problems come up, and instead of placing blame for why they happened, and by the way, placing blame and determining why a problem happened are two different things. I'm not telling you don't figure out why it happened. I'm telling you don't dwell on who's the bad guy in this situation. Fix it. You can always come back and say, hey, you really screwed this up. Here's what you can do now to fix it. This is a very important word arc to me. It really is. Think about it. That's all. And in the meantime, you can't say good morning or goodbye to Indy because he's already off riding his bike. I've got PT this morning, so I'm going to ride my little stationary bike for my 6 or 7 minutes and burn my 18 calories. Stephen, thank you for all your help this morning. Hey, friends, thanks for being here with me. I love sharing my coffee with you. Here's a sip and a smile. I'll see you tomorrow. That'll be Thursday. See you then. Bye-bye.